Finally, Avadi has come back to Fulgora. Now listen, this starter island is absolutely nuts. It has a decent size and 5 million scrap on it. I didn't even know that this is possible. We can actually build a starter base right here. And there's an adjacent island with 31 million scrap on it. Perfect conditions to get going. If your map seed isn't that lucky, just go and scout. There are no enemies on Fulgora, so you have ample time to find an island that suits you. The first thing you should always do is build a couple of stone furnaces to smelt stone into stone bricks to craft lightning rods. For the time being, I'm covered by a natural lightning rod. Now that I'm looking at the distance between the islands, you can actually use large power poles to transfer electricity from island to island. This seed is ridiculous. I'm going to use one island for accumulators and the other one, the larger one, for production. So the island up north will be the Accumulator island. To build it, we need a substation grid and full lightning rod coverage. Even though this is the 7th episode of my current Megabase run, this video should be suitable as a standalone video or guide on how to get going and set up a starter base on Fulgora. Before even thinking on starting the actual production island down south, we have to mine a lot of scrap and recycle to get basic items. Especially accumulators to store the lightning energy during the night. We also need a significant amount of recyclers, inserters and chests to get going. I brought big mining drills and turbo belts from Vulcanus, plus substations and modules. If you don't have any of these items yet, craft them. Recycle gears to get iron plates, blue circuits to get a lot of green circuits, until you have everything you need. Now that I have more than 20 recyclers, inserters and a lot of belts, I can move over to our production island. We have 4 rare big mining drills. At 33% resource drain, the 5 million scrap patch is actually a 15 million scrap patch. And we already have plus 110% mining productivity. As you can see, this is now literally an accumulator island. Moving on to the next phase, which is building a starter base. We begin by setting up automated scrap recycling using a recycling block. It consists of 16 recyclers. Let's make it 24. The recyclers put the 12 resulting items from scrap recycling onto a single turbo belt, while new scrap will flow in from the north. The blueprint utilizes bulk inserters, but I only have fast inserters. No big deal, so let's replace them. We now build a clockwise sushi belt loop. The size and length of the sushi belt doesn't matter, this one will be fairly short. To close the loop, we connect the belt to the incoming splitter. Make sure that the belt holding the already recycled items has input priority on the splitter. This prevents clogging up the loop. Scrap will only enter the economy when there's free space to fill. I will speed up the recyclers using speed modules from Vulcanus, plus efficiency modules since power consumption is always a concern on Fulgora. This parameterized blueprint lets you filter items off the sushi belt without potentially blocking it. I won't use it that much on the starter island. But it is crucial to collect Holmium ore, because when using a regular inserter to pull items from the belt, it's possible for some items to get past the inserter without being grabbed. Holmium is rare and the bottleneck on Fulgora. Nothing should get past us and be trashed. For all other items though, I am using a normal inserter and chest. I could use the splitter combo for all items again, but I don't mind some items flying past the inserters. Are these all possible items of scrap recycling and re-recycling, or did I miss something? Oh, I did. The second most valuable item, batteries. For them I use the splitter combo again. Now that we store all required items in chests, we will utilize the logistic network and more blueprints to produce important items. For example, more accumulators for the island up north, and modules. There are still a lot of efficiency modules level 2 missing in those recyclers. I brought 50 logistic bots from Vulcanus. They will do all the hard work from now on. Why are we even here on this beautiful planet? First, to craft and export recyclers. Recyclers can be made exclusively from the resulting items from scrap recycling. No need to craft other intermediate items, so we are already done. Second, we want to produce electromagnetic plants. To craft them we need Holmium solution and Holmium plates. Utilizing the foundry is key, because of its bonus productivity, which is why I just requested it in the cargo landing pad. To craft Holmium solution, we first have to melt ice into water. This water will then be combined with stone and Holmium ore. I'm using requester chests to let bots supply the chemical plants. Don't forget to set a proper quantity of items to be delivered by the bots. And since Holmium is the bottleneck, we want to use productivity modules for the production of Holmium solution. The Holmium plates are then made in a foundry. Of course, that's only possible when visiting Vulcanus first. Otherwise, use a regular assembler. A foundry with productivity modules has a massive electricity draw and is fairly slow. Let's counteract this with a beacon. The beacon itself draws half a megawatt. The efficiency modules will make up for it though. After crafting the first 50 Holmium plates, we unlock the EM plant. Let's try to craft it. Unfortunately, there's still something missing. Clean concrete. For clean concrete we need water, which we already have. Basic concrete is a result of scrap recycling, and we need iron sticks. Let's wait and see if production starts as expected. I think we will now slowly craft the first EM plant. Seems like a couple of Holmium plates are still missing. As soon as the first EM plant has been crafted, replace the assembler with the EM plant crafting itself. Even though it's not an intermediate item, you still get the 50% extra productivity. Now that we produce recyclers and EM plants, we want to launch them into space. Therefore, I'm trying to craft a rocket silo. We already have access to steel, blue circuits and concrete. But we have to add the production of pipes and electric engines. To make electric engines, we need normal engines first. And to be able to craft electric engines, we need lubricant. But on Fulgora, this is not a problem at all. Because heavy oil is completely free and infinite. All we have to do is pump it out of the ocean with an offshore pump and simply turning it into lubricant. Meanwhile, I'm sure we crafted a significant amount of new accumulators. To improve the power storage capacity, let's build them. Seems like we need way more to finish Accumulator Island up north. The placement of this foundry was a mistake because it didn't utilize the chemical plant on the right. After moving it one tile down, the problem has been fixed. I brought 2 rare chemical plants from Vulcanus. Let's use them here. We will have a rocket silo soon, but in order to assemble a rocket, we also need rocket fuel. Since solid fuel is already a regular outcome of scrap recycling, all we really have to do is produce light oil. And for that we basically just need water. Remember, heavy oil is free. Building a pipeline for water will be slightly more complicated. Close enough for government work. Next we have to connect the outgoing light oil pipeline to the assemblers making rocket fuel. And then set up requester chests to get solid fuel in. And finally build storage chests for the resulting rocket fuel. Don't forget to enhance the assemblers with modules. Speed is nice, efficiency to reduce power draw, and since the base currently needs a lot of green circuits to craft modules, I set up an EM plant to help craft them. Lo and behold, the first rocket silo is ready. Let's set it up down here. My first instinct is to use full productivity modules and a requester chest using the logistic group we set up on Vulcanus. But now that I think about it, full productivity is probably a bad idea. Rocket silos draw a significant amount of energy. Let's instead try to increase speed and use as much efficiency modules as possible. I kind of like a beacon with mixed modules, speed and efficiency. I still don't believe how beautiful these new rocket silo sprites are. For good measure, let's build a second rocket silo. Because besides recyclers and EM plants, we also want to launch the Fulgora science pack into space. Accumulator Island up north is about to be fully completed. We can now set up requests for EM plants and recyclers in our spaceship. Now that this is all done and dusted, let's continue by setting up the Electromagnetic science pack. I will set up the entire production chain over here in a row of electromagnetic plants. Starting with superconductors on the right, then supercapacitors, electrolyte, and then finally on the left the science pack, which as of now is still locked. I'm using the flip and rotate shortcuts to align the fluid input and outputs. This will minimize the quantity of pipes needed to connect all of this. To request ingredients, we utilize requester chests again. You can shift right and shift left click entities to automatically set up the proper requests. In this case though, I accidentally copied the requests for the supercapacitors to the requester chests of the superconductors. Heavy oil will of course be pumped out of the ocean again. Checking the ingredients, this is the moment I realized I made a mistake. Let's just try again. Light oil to supply the superconductor production is already available. All we have to do is build a pipeline. Here we go, production is starting. As always, don't forget modules. I would love to use full productivity modules, but let's face it, we need a way bigger island and more accumulators to make it work. For a starter base like this, it's totally fine to not optimize for productivity. To produce electrolyte, we need to build a pipeline for the Holmium solution. The science pack has been unlocked, so let's set it up. Flipping and rotating again to align the fluid inputs. This way it's very easy to connect to the pipelines. And since the science pack is the last item in the production chain, I will try to utilize productivity modules here. Sometimes when automatically setting up the requester chest ingredients, it is a good idea to edit the quantity. I will use my storage chest blueprint again and set up a quantity of 8,000 science packs. On top of the modules I'm already using, I want to use beacons to affect the EM plants. Each EM plant should be affected by at least one beacon. We want as much productivity and speed as possible, but we always have to balance this against the available energy stored in our accumulators. Finding the perfect combination of modules to maximize production is actually really hard. The purpose of the starter base is to get EM plants and recyclers. Plus use science packs to unlock the most important Fulgora technologies and research. But the base is only a temporary solution. We will build a better and larger base soon to pump up the science per minute rate. Because I'm sure there will be a lot of very large islands in uncharted territory. This setup produces round about 50 science per minute. Energy consumption seems to be stable, not accounting for rocket silos though. The only issue that needs to be addressed immediately is the production of accumulators. We need round about 30 per minute according to rate calculator, but the assembler only produced 11. To improve production, I thought I'm smart by just doubling the amount of assemblers. But of course accumulators can be made in EM plants with a 50% productivity bonus. So let's not waste this free productivity. The old assembler can then be deconstructed. According to rate calculator, this will be 50 accumulators per minute, assuming we recycle enough batteries. And with that, this simple starter base is finished. I think it turned out to be very beautiful. And most importantly, it's very easy to set up. Usually a starter island like this looks way more crowded, but we were lucky outsourcing the accumulators to the adjacent island. Our spaceship is already waiting. Time to launch the first science packs into space. This is where I realize I only have 50 logistic bots. They will take a long time to move 1000 science packs into the silo. Top left, I'm already crafting robotic frames to increase the number of logistic bots. But we need a better solution for this. So why not just build a storage chest one tile apart from the rocket silo? We can now use direct insertion and disable the automatic request from space platforms in the silo. We now have a dedicated rocket silo to launch science packs to space. Back on Vulcanus, we can now request electromagnetic plants, recyclers and the Fulgora science pack. These items will drastically improve the productivity of our Vulcanus base. And using recyclers we can now build a reasonable quality upcycling sub-factory. But first let's make sure that the Fulgora science packs find a way into our labs. I'm still very satisfied with this early game lab layout. It theoretically supports all 12 science packs, beacons and also spoilage voiding. How? Move the beacons on the right, one tile to the right, then there would be space for another belt with a long inserter. Okay, done. Now we can queue up the first Fulgora research. And I think the most valuable is to bump up the productivity of processing units. Next, let's utilize the EM plants. First, I'm replacing the assemblers making red circuits. All belts have to be moved a tile each, which is kind of annoying because the substations are in the way. But anyway, we can make it work, no problem. Now that I think about it, let's also add some beacons to the mix. Before, the sub-factory produced round about 600 red circuits per minute. Now based on rate calculator, it's close to 1000. We have 2 red circuit sub-factories. Let's upgrade the other one as well. Don't forget to use EM plants for the production of modules. 50% bonus productivity, even though these are not intermediates. And then of course we also want to utilize them for the production of processing units. Because EM plants have 2 liquid input and outputs, it's now way easier to manage the sulfuric acid. Finally, I also upgraded the green circuit sub-factory. There are multiple of these. Let's copy the new setup to replace the 3rd green circuit sub-factory. Great, we are about to get processing unit productivity level 1. This pushes the blue circuit productivity to 90%. Dear viewer, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to not miss the next episode, where we will very likely set up quality production on Vulcanus. A special shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. You are amazing.